Hi everyone! Today in this video I'm going to talk to you and show you how I maintain this front flower border which we share between the road and our property. So on this little strip of land, which is town property, and if you decide to do something like this, you have to make sure that town is okay with you developing this land. In our case, we planted two maple trees here. Actually, the third tree is right there. And we took all the grass away and we planted flowers here. There are two things we should have considered before doing this, but I never saw anyone in our town or anywhere where I traveled. I never saw this piece of land being developed and turned into a flower bed, so I couldn't learn from anyone. But number one mistake which we made, we planted here very hungry trees, maple trees. Maple trees are famous for having very shallow root system, and they are hungry. They suck all the nutrients and all the moisture out of this land. And because this area is so narrow and it's kind of stuck between the road and a sidewalk, this area gets dry in no time. So that's mistake number one. And mistake number two, when we took all the grass down and planted our flowers, we should have lowered the level of the soil a little bit lower. This way I could have just put a hose in and let water run in and not spill out. Because now when I'm watering it, as you can see, we have soil a little bit higher than the barrier. So what happens when I water it, very often water spills out and just runs out and it's a waste. So what I'm doing now, I also cannot add any mulch here to protect the soil, because any heavy rain just takes that mulch down and brings it with heavy water down the street. So what I do right now, I basically wait for this soil to go down naturally. Since all the maples are growing all the leaves and leaves are falling down, and every year this soil eventually will decrease in height. And I would be able to put a hose in and let the hose water everything without constantly making sure that water is not running out. We don't have any irrigation system here, and I think that the irrigation, the sprinklers, would be very difficult to actually water this area very well. So if you decide to do something like this, keep in mind that this would be a high maintenance area in your garden. If you're ready for that, you can definitely go ahead and develop this area. Now, because I have to deal with dry conditions here, I'm trying to introduce different plants here, because our maple trees are getting bigger every year, so they're going to be more and more challenges for this area here. So this spring I propagated probably 20-something bushes of, look at this, lamb's ears. And I know lamb's ears love sun, and they don't really like to live in shady conditions. But I took my challenge because I saw that at some corner of my property, lamb's ears do survive. They don't flourish, but they do survive in shade. So you can see I introduced them here. And I can't say that they are thriving, but they're not dying of drought, at least here. So you can see everywhere here, I have them growing. And I don't know how they will do next year. Look at these two guys here. You see they have dry leaves, which is okay, but they are not really thriving as they would on the sun. Still, they have a presence here. What else I introduced here to kind of make this area green is this little winker. You see this winker here? It is growing. I probably did 10 little seedlings here, little saplings, you see, and this winker is growing here. Not proliferously, it doesn't want to be very happy here, but it is growing. So eventually it will take hold of this land. Winca is a very hardy ground cover, a very drought-tolerant ground cover, and I am hoping that through years, right here, look at this. I introduced this Winca here. Here, look at this. You see? I planted it here in spring, and it started growing, starting colonizing a little bit this area, which is good. I want it to be here. Now this needs to be. I like to keep this echinacea for birds, but not here. The front garden should be nice and well maintained. Now look at these guys. They are slightly disheveled looking here right now, but they are blue flax. Gorgeous, beautiful, very airy flowers in spring. And I love them so much that I forgive them this shabby look right now. I only trim them when they go all the way to the sidewalk, you know. So I don't want that to happen. Another thing, another mistake which I made here in this garden. You see this creeping phlox? It's beautiful ground cover, but I planted it too close to the end of the flower bed, and you see it loves to spill over and nicely cascade. If you have garden structures in your garden where you can cascade your creeping phlox, you can do that, but not here. Here I always struggle, and I always have to cut that edge off because all the debris which are coming down here, down this road from heavy rains, they just get stuck there and it doesn't look very nice. So that was I wouldn't say a mistake, because garden creeping phlox looks so good here. I should have planted it in the middle of the flower bed. It can be fixed next year. Probably I will propagate it and will spread it around this border. Now hydrangeas. Oh gosh, look at this. As I can say, this is a high level maintenance garden. There are constantly debris here. There is constant leaves, sticks and whatnot. Cigarette buds, unfortunately. Dogs. They don't do a lot of damage to this flower bed because I planted it very densely. So dogs don't really go in. They don't have space to go in. I think that's a trick to safeguard your flower bed against dogs. Now look at this. This flax is going down, so I am trimming it. And I basically throw everything on the road. And then I come in and I clean it all up with one big scoop. This way it's much easier. Here we go. So this maintenance, this cleaning up maintenance, I do probably once every week, once every 2 weeks, when plants are slowing down during the second part of summer. They don't grow so much, but it is a maintenance. So here at the end of our front flower bed, we have this wonderful little tree or small shrub. And last year I went ahead and I trimmed the bottom of it. You see, I raised the canopy because a lot of cars were passing by and they were hitting these leaves. So it's not really good, it's dangerous. So I raised the canopy, and I think I will raise it even a little bit more. So what you do, you just cut sticks out, make it, I think it will look much better if I will do this. Because this tree is growing, you know, it's maturing, and these sticks are getting in the way of cars. I don't want that to happen. Now, these black-eyed Susans, in the back, my black-eyed Susans are still blossoming, but here, because it's the conditions are dry here, black-eyed Susans went into dormancy. You see, they're going into dormancy. They're forming seeds. They stop blooming. So I'm going just to trim them here, and that's it. They will look much neater. You see, they have a nice little foliage here on the ground, and they will look neat. Right now they start to look a little disheveled. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this all out. this flax, I will let it be here. It's not falling down. Okay, so I raised the canopy on this tree and I think it looks much better. Look, now we can see the formation of limbs here, and you know, whatever is growing under this tree has space to grow and have a little bit more of sun here, breathing area. So now I'm just going to take all the you know, garbage and everything what's here, pull it on the road, and then I will come in and just take it all in. And I never put it into the compost pile because there is a lot of dust and debris coming from the road onto this flower bed. So everything what comes out of here, I totally don't compost. I just throw it into the garbage, it goes. As for the weeds here, the first year we took the grass off, it was very weedy, but next year I was very, I wouldn't say aggressively weeding everything out, but I was very diligent in taking care that nothing would recede here. And now basically we have a weed-free area here, partially because I take care of the weeds the minute they appear, and partially because it's heavily planted here, so there are barely empty patches of grass between all our beautiful hydrangeas here. As you can see, they are gorgeous this year. Probably the best year for hydrangeas for us this year. And here is a weed. You see, little tiny ones, out they go. But these hydrangeas are gorgeous. So this is it about this flower bed. Again, it's high maintenance, but I like it because it gives extra dimension to our garden. You go in and you look at the house and there is beautiful flowers in front of it. So happy gardening, and I will see you next time.